60 feet long, 20 tons of muscle and bone, a bite force strong enough to crush a small car. That's not fiction, that's the Megalodon, the largest predator to ever hunt the seas. It vanished 3.6 million years ago. But what if it didn't? What if, somewhere in the deep tonight, one of them was still alive, and it just surfaced into our ocean? Not the ocean it knew, this one. Today's ocean is warmer in some places, colder in others, emptier of the giant prey it used to hunt, and full of predators that evolved without ever knowing it existed. So the real question isn't, could a megalodon survive here? It's, what would it do to everything else first? Let's start with the basics. Could a megalodon's body even function in today's ocean? Fossil evidence tells us Megalodon was warm-bodied, a trait scientists call mesothermy. It could regulate its internal temperature above the surrounding water, which is exactly what let it hunt in a huge range of ocean temperatures, from tropical shallows to cooler open water. That's good news for our hypothetical Megalodon. Most of today's oceans would still fall inside its comfort zone. But here's the problem. Mesothermy is expensive. Keeping a 20-ton body warm burns enormous energy. Energy that has to come from food. A lot of food. In the Pliocene epoch, the ocean this shark evolved in was full of large, energy-rich prey. Whales, huge sea cows, giant sea turtles the size of small cars. Today's ocean isn't that ocean anymore. A megalodon needed roughly 2,500 pounds of food a day just to maintain its body. That's not a typo, 2,500 pounds, daily. So what's on the modern menu? Whales are the obvious answer, and they're still out there. Humpbacks, grey whales, even the occasional young blue whale calf could theoretically be within range for an animal this size. But there's a catch modern oceans didn't have 3 million years ago. Whale populations are a fraction of what they used to be. Commercial whaling in the 20th century wiped out an estimated 80 to 90% of the world's great whales before international protections kicked in. Some populations are recovering, none are close to historic numbers, which means the single richest food source Megalodon relied on is now the scarcest it's ever been. It would have to work harder, travel farther, and compete more aggressively than it ever needed to in its own era, against predators that didn't exist back then. Here's where it gets interesting. Megalodon wouldn't be entering an empty throne room. It would be walking into a food chain that already has a king. Orcas. Orcas didn't exist as apex ocean predators in Megalodon's time in the way they do now. But today, they are the most sophisticated hunters in the sea, not because of size, but because of coordination. Orcas hunt in pods. They communicate. They've been documented working together to flip great white sharks upside down, inducing a paralytic state called tonic immobility, just to feed on their liver. A lone megalodon, even at 60 feet, has no evolutionary answer for coordinated pack hunting. Its size was built to dominate one-on-one encounters in an ocean where nothing hunted in groups smart enough to exploit a single predator's blind spots. That doesn't mean Megalodon would lose every encounter. Raw size and bite force still matter enormously. A single unlucky hit from a Megalodon could kill an orca outright. But a pod isn't fighting fair, and the modern ocean rewards intelligence and cooperation over pure size in a way the ancient one never had to. The most likely outcome isn't a clean who wins, it's tension. Two apex predators avoiding direct conflict where possible and colliding violently where they can't. This is the part most people don't think about. It's not really about whether Megalodon survives, it's about what happens to everything underneath it. Introduce a new apex predator into an ecosystem that spent 3 million years balancing without one, and the effects ripple downward fast. Great white sharks would likely be pushed out of contested territory entirely, either avoiding Megalodon's hunting grounds or becoming prey themselves in smaller shark encounters. Seal and sea lion colonies, already a primary food source for great whites, would face pressure from a predator with no natural hesitation around size. And whale migration patterns, routes that have stayed consistent for generations, could shift entirely, the same way prey animals on land reroute around a new predator's territory. In ecology, this is called a trophic cascade. One new predator at the top doesn't just eat, it rewrites the rules for every species below it, all the way down to the plankton blooms that depend on how many fish are left to eat them. A single megalodon wouldn't just be a shark in the ocean. It would be a variable that breaks the equation everything else has been solving for millions of years. Here's the twist most megalodon content never gets to. The ancient ocean's greatest predator might not lose to orcas. It might not starve. It might survive everything nature could throw at it. What it never evolved to survive is us. Massive naval sonar arrays operate at frequencies that have been linked to disorientation and mass strandings in whales, animals with far more sophisticated hearing adaptations than an ancient shark would have. Shipping traffic alone kills an estimated 20,000 whales a year through vessel strikes, animals many times more maneuverable than a 60-foot ambush predator, built for speed in short bursts, not evasion. And ocean plastic, chemical runoff, and industrial fishing have already reshaped the base of the food chain Megalodon would depend on before it ever got the chance to hunt in it. The apex predator of the ancient world wouldn't be undone by a bigger apex predator. It would be undone by an ecosystem it was never built to read, full of threats invisible until it was already too late. For 20 million years, Megalodon ruled every ocean it swam in. Nothing challenged it. Nothing needed to be outsmarted, only outmuscled. That world is gone. The ocean today isn't short on danger, it's just rewritten who the danger comes from. Coordination instead of raw power, intelligence instead of size, and a species that never had to evolve fins to become the most disruptive force in the sea. Megalodon didn't lose to evolution. It just stopped being the right kind of predator for the world that came after it.